In the name of Allah, the most merciful and the most compassionate. Peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, the final messenger and the greatest guide for humanity. Today, we reflect upon the deep and timeless wisdom inspired by the teachings of Hazrat Sultan Bahoo from his spiritual masterpiece, Ain-ul-Faqr. These teachings are not merely words written on paper, but living guidance meant to transform hearts, purify souls, and connect human beings with their Creator. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo teaches that true spirituality is not limited to outward acts of worship, but is deeply connected with the inner state of a person. A person may pray regularly, fast consistently, and recite the Quran beautifully, yet if his heart is filled with pride, jealousy, greed, and selfishness, he remains far from true faqr. Real spiritual success begins when a person looks within himself and begins the journey of self-purification with sincerity and honesty. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo explains that the greatest enemy of human beings is not the outside world, nor other people, but the uncontrolled ego and rebellious self known as the Nafs. The Nafs constantly pushes a person toward worldly pleasures, personal desires, and selfish ambitions. It creates false pride and convinces a person that he is superior to others. It makes him attached to status, wealth, and recognition. As long as a person remains a slave to his nafs, he cannot become close to Allah. True faqr begins when a person learns to control his desires, discipline his thoughts, and surrender his will to the commands of Allah. This process is not easy. It requires patience, struggle, and lifelong effort. But those who succeed in controlling their nafs achieve inner freedom and spiritual peace. One of the most important lessons of Ain-ul-Faqr is contentment with the will of Allah. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo teaches that a true fakir remains satisfied in every situation. Whether he faces comfort or hardship, success or failure, wealth or poverty, he accepts it as a decision from Allah. He does not complain, nor does he become arrogant when blessed. Instead, he responds with gratitude in ease and patience in difficulty. This attitude creates emotional stability and spiritual strength. In a world where people constantly compare themselves with others and feel dissatisfied, this teaching brings deep peace. When a person trusts Allah's wisdom completely, his heart becomes free from anxiety and fear. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo also emphasizes that knowledge without practice is useless. Many people collect religious information, memorize verses, and attend lectures, yet their character remains unchanged. They know what is right, but they do not act upon it. Such knowledge becomes a burden rather than a blessing. True knowledge is that which transforms behavior, improves morals, and strengthens faith. A person who learns about honesty must become honest. A person who learns about humility must become humble. A person who learns about patience must practice patience. Only then does knowledge become a source of light. Otherwise, it remains empty words. Another central teaching is sincerity in worship and actions. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo warns against hypocrisy and showing off. Performing good deeds to impress people, gain praise, or build reputation destroys spiritual progress. When worship becomes a tool for fame, it loses its value in the sight of Allah. A true fakir performs every act solely for Allah's pleasure. Whether he is praying alone in darkness or helping someone in secret, his intention remains pure. This sincerity brings divine blessings and strengthens the connection with Allah. Without sincerity, even great actions become meaningless. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo further explains that faqr leads to detachment from the world, but not in the sense of abandoning responsibilities. A person following faqr can be a businessman, a student, a worker, or a family man. He can earn wealth and live comfortably. However, his heart does not become attached to these things. He uses the world as a means, not as a goal. Money remains in his pocket, not in his heart. Success does not make him arrogant, and failure does not make him hopeless. He remains balanced, calm, and thankful in every condition. This spiritual balance is the hallmark of true faqr. Self-accountability is another important principle highlighted by Hazrat Sultan Bahoo. A true seeker constantly examines his own behavior. He reflects on his intentions, actions, and thoughts. Instead of blaming others, he corrects himself. He asks Allah for forgiveness, guidance, and strength. He recognizes his weaknesses and works to improve them. This habit of self-reflection protects a person from arrogance and spiritual decline. It keeps him humble and connected with Allah. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo also reminds that the journey of faqr is lifelong. There is no final destination where one can say, I have achieved perfection. Every day brings new challenges, new lessons, and new opportunities for growth. A seeker must remain consistent, disciplined, and hopeful. He must never become proud of his spiritual progress, nor should he feel discouraged by his mistakes. Instead, he should continue striving with sincerity and trust in Allah's mercy. Allah loves those who keep returning to Him with humility. The teachings also emphasize compassion and good character. A true faqir is gentle, forgiving, and kind. He does not harm others with words or actions. He controls his anger and treats people with respect. He helps the needy, comforts the sad, and supports the weak. His presence brings peace to others. His character becomes a reflection of his inner purity. Spirituality without good character is incomplete. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo teaches that the best way to please Allah is to serve His creation with sincerity and love. Another key lesson is gratitude. A true faqir recognizes every blessing as a gift from Allah. Health, family, knowledge, time, and opportunities are all divine favors. Instead of taking them for granted, he thanks Allah regularly. Gratitude increases blessings and protects the heart from greed. When a person learns to appreciate what he has, he becomes content and joyful. He stops chasing endless desires and starts living peacefully. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo also teaches reliance on Allah, known as tawakkul. A seeker works hard, plans wisely, and uses his abilities, but he does not become obsessed with results. After making effort, he leaves the outcome to Allah. He believes that Allah's plan is always better than his own. This trust removes fear and worry from the heart. It gives courage in difficult times and hope in dark moments. A person with strong tawakkul never feels alone, because he knows Allah is always with him. Through Ain-ul-Faqr, Hazrat Sultan Bahoo reminds us that the purpose of life is not accumulation, competition, or domination, but purification, connection, and submission to Allah. Human beings are created to recognize their Creator and live according to His guidance. When a person forgets this purpose, he becomes lost, even if he appears successful. When he remembers it, he becomes successful, even if he appears poor. True success is measured by the state of the heart, not by the size of wealth. These teachings encourage us to slow down and reflect in a fast-paced world. They invite us to look beyond material achievements and focus on spiritual growth. They remind us that every breath is a gift, every moment is an opportunity, and every difficulty is a test. Through patience, sincerity, humility, and trust in Allah, a person can transform his life completely. He can move from darkness to light, from confusion to clarity, and from restlessness to peace. In conclusion, the message of Hazrat Sultan Bahoo in Ain-ul-Faqr is a call to inner revolution. It is an invitation to cleanse the heart, discipline the soul, and strengthen the relationship with Allah. It teaches that faqr is not poverty, but richness of faith. It is not weakness, but spiritual strength. It is not escape from life, but mastery over it. Those who walk this path with honesty and dedication are granted a life of balance, dignity, and divine closeness. May Allah grant us the ability to understand these teachings, implement them in our lives, and remain steadfast on the path of truth. May He purify our hearts, forgive our mistakes, and guide us toward lasting peace and success. Ameen.